Eagle Eye Focus Sports Talk Podcast with me, your host, Louis DB.
On today's Eagle Eye Focus, we're previewing the Eagles' preseason opener and recapping the Eagles and Patriots practice here on Eagle Eye Focus.
No game epitomized Buddy Ryan's defense more than
the body bag game. We'll just beat you into submission with our defense.
There were 12 or 11 Redskins that were carted off the field. And I can remember doing the show the day after that body bag game. And I never saw anything like it.
He's hit. He fumbles. The Eagles are after it. Simmons has it. At the 10. At the 5. Touchdown.
We got a ball for you. Great job.
Today on the Eagle Eye Focus Sports Talk Podcast, we got a lot of stuff to kick in as tomorrow is the first preseason Eagles game for the preseason. They're kicking it off at the Lincoln Financial Field against the New England Patriots, who they've been practicing with for the past couple days. And it's been aggressive, and there's been some things that we've learned from this Eagles team that really, and both good and bad. First, let's start off with quick headlines. First, in the injury report, LeSean McCoy will not play against the Patriots. They're going to be a little bit conservative with his injury. Obviously, they don't want to rush him into anything. And another huge season-ending blow for the Eagles as Aurelius Ben had not good, Sam Ty. That's not good. Aurelius Ben tore his ACL and it will now be out for the season. Yeah, he was supposed to be a huge part of this offense, and it's just kind of a huge blow. And we talked about last podcast with Tommy Lawler of EaglesBlitz.com and also PhiladelphiaEagles.com about what receivers really need to step up. And now, really, the spotlight is on two rookies like Ifeanyi Momo and Russell Shepard. Also, Riley Cooper has returned to the Eagles training camp after going away for a couple days for training. He is now listed on the depth chart as the second receiver opposite Deshaun Jackson. Also, Michael Vick and Nick Foles are going to be splitting first-team reps on the depth chart. They're listed as both starters, but Vick will be starting. He'll be the first quarterback on the field this Friday night, and it's going to be really interesting to see what he can do. He probably had somewhere around 12 to 20 snaps as well as Nick Foles, but mainly really Matt Barkley and Dennis Dixon are going to be most of the playing time in the second half. And let's see what they can do with some of their time as well as Juju Kenny. So that's pretty much the headlines during the practices, so for the joint practices. The first day, Tom Brady and the Patriots really just showed, this new offense and this intensity that the Eagles' offense and defense could not handle. I believe Brady went for something like 46 for 48 out of all completions at training camp. Yeah, no, Tom Brady's not good, so that's good, Sam Ty.
I don't like Tom Brady.
Good managing of the sound quality. But, really, the first day the Patriots showed up the Eagles, and then the second day, though, it was much better. Michael Vick and Nick Foles did great in their red zone drills. Vick has really been connecting. I posted an article. Vick has really been doing very well with the tight ends so far with Brett Selleck, James Casey, and Zach Ertz. And so he hit Zach Ertz, I believe, for like 2 touchdowns as well as James Casey. But the thing I want to talk about is the Eagles' offensive line. Their one-on-one drills against the Eagles' Patriots defensive line is much better. Alan Barb, their backup left tackle, Jason Peters, who, by the way, will be starting against the Patriots, as Peters will also not be playing in the game, really was impressive against some of the ends. He really showed up Chandler Jones and some of those really good pass rushers, and as well as Lane Johnson, who is starting at right tackle. Dennis Kelly will be getting surgery. Hopefully he'll be ready for the regular season opener, even though I don't think he'll be playing. Lane Johnson is and you can't teach that size and athleticism. And also a guy that we had on the podcast, Julian Vanderbilt, has really been impressive at battling for that backup center spot with Dallas Reynolds. Reynolds has not looked sharp against the Patriots. Julian Vanderbilt really stepped it up. So good for him as he was a guest on our podcast, first professional player. We'll be hoping to get more on there. So let's dive into this. Yeah, we'll get some more players hopefully before the season starts, because after the season is really tough.
Yeah.
So let's dive into this. We're going to do for the preseason preview. We're going to do 10 players on offense and then 10 players on defense that you really want to keep a close eye on during the game. Obviously, it's hard to always focus on one player. But these are some of the guys that have a lot on the line in this preseason season opener. So let's kick into it now. We're So, first, we're going to go, obviously, quarterback. Number 1, Michael Vick. He's going to be the first starter. I mean, it's all on the line. He needs to, if he can execute, get down the field, score, maybe get some points on the field, or at least look good, run the offense very smoothly. There's going to be basic plays. You're not going to see much no-huddle offense like you were expecting. So I think that, honestly, Michael Vick, but I want to see some running ability, too. He just needs to show up. I think he has to score a touchdown. And this is only the first season game, obviously. Nick Foles will be starting next week, as Chip Kelly said. But Vick gets the first punch at it, and I think it's going to be really huge for him. You just don't commit turnovers, so that's going to be huge. The fans are going to be really after him. Nick Foles will get around 12 to 20 snaps as well right after. They're hoping to both get some time with the first team reps of the Eagles offense. I think Foles, honestly, is going to do very well. I think that, honestly, Vick's really going to have to look really good because Nick Foles is going to be steady. He's not going to make many mistakes, many errors. This is my opinion. I think he's a sound mental quarterback that really could impress as he did last year against the Patriots in the preseason. So, yeah, Michael Vick, that's obviously we can talk so much about him, but we'll be done with Vick for now. We must go to Nick Foles, the guy that will be starting next week. Honestly, it was interesting watching ESPN's first take today with Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. Honestly, talking about why the Eagles are even wasting their time with Nick Foles, which means to them they don't see him as the quarterback of the future. And honestly, I don't think, and a lot of people don't think that he gives the Eagles the best chance to win now if that's what they're doing. I think, honestly, Nick Foles is going to be good in the preseason, but he hasn't had the it factor that Michael Vick has in case Michael Vick is on a roll. I don't think Nick Foles can win you a football game. Obviously, he did last year against Tampa Bay, but he had one win last season. I just don't think he fits the offense. I'm just not a big Nick Foles fan. I'm going to obviously support him if he wins the starting job, but I think that, it's more of a basic offense with a guy like that. But, obviously, if he wins the job, he wins the job. And I think that right now, a lot of people most of the beat writers for Philadelphia are saying he's the favorite. But honestly, I think with Vick's cannon arm, I think if he goes out there and slings it tomorrow on the first drive, Chip Kelly's going to be impressed. And I think he knows that Vick is the leader. So that's Nick Foles. Number 3, we're going to talk, and I'm going to talk about, just so you know, all 4 quarterbacks, minus DJ Penny. Sorry, you're not going to win this now. Number 3 is rookie 4th round pick Matt Barkley. Matt Barkley is going to probably be getting the most playing time. So he says it's not an open competition. This is your shot. This is a huge opportunity. What was that?
Flies eat poop.
Okay. I guess that's the comparison with DJ Penny. You know what I'm saying, you just got to stop, alright?
Oh.
Yeah. Producing that, alright?
Okay.
So, Matt Barkley, honestly, I think just like Nick Foles doesn't have the mobile attributes, but I see more from him on being able to run this offense. He picks up the system quick. He gets the ball really quickly. He's good with the short and intermediate. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks when it comes to the middle, intermediate routes. He lines up the offense very well at training camp so far. This is an opportunity. He can go out there, get some nice passes on, maybe get a touchdown, just man the offense. I think if he can spot some things on the defensive side, make some calls, I think it's a process with Barkley because he's young. I think this is his first game. He's just got to show some good things. Then next couple preseason games, that's what can really impress. So that's Matt Barkley for you at number 3. Number 4, I'm going to talk about my favorite player and the guy that, to me, now everybody is counting out for this job. I talked with yesterday, CSN Philly beat writer Brandon Lee about the Dennis Dixon situation. He said that Dixon has been getting little to no reps at the first team, which isn't not good for me. I'm a big fan of Dennis Dixon. I think a little bit. I was just a little bit frustrated. I was a little bit frustrated with Chip Kelly because he said this was an open competition and everybody's getting a shot. He still says he does. We'll go back and watch the tape. But Dennis Dixon is getting no reps. Neither is Matt Barkley. Matt Barkley's probably getting like 3 first-team reps against the Patriots. Dennis Dixon, but he's going to have a big chance. He's going to play most of the 4th quarter because I don't think G.G. Kenny's going to get many snaps because he's not good. I just think G.G. Kenny's not making this roster. I think we'll just conclude that now. But Dixon, he's familiar. I think what intrigues me the most is the unknown with him. He hasn't gotten many chances. He started 3 games. He's 2-1 as a starter. So, same time, can you pull up Dennis Dixon's stats with the Pittsburgh Steelers when he started those 3 games while I'm talking about him? He's going to get most of the reps there. Chip Kelly said Dennis will get those. He's really going to have to do like what Trent Edwards did last year, which is just light it up in the preseason and look tremendous in order to even make a spot on this roster. and that would mean that either Nick Foles or Michael Vick is not on this roster. It's a long shot now, but if he lights it up, I really want to see him run the read option. Him and Vick, by the way, that's what I'm going to talk about Vick too with during the preseason is they both. I want to see how they run the read option. Show a little bit of it. Let's see. I know Dixon can run it well. I really want to see what they can do with that. Maybe show some mobility. If Dixon and Vick can look good rushing-wise during the preseason, Chip Kelly's going to love it. All right, Medusa, the producer, give me some of the stats.
For his passing stats in 2009, he had 145 yards.
This was in one game, by the way, starting against the Ravens on Sunday night.
Yes, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he had a rating of 60.6 in 2009. 2010.
And by the way, this is one thing though too. He had 12 completions out of 26 attempts. Not very good that one game, but this is the year that he went. He started the first 2 games. So give me those. Sorry.
2010, 254 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a rating of 79.4.
Which isn't bad. Give me the rushing for that year. Don't give me 2009.
All right, 2010, he had 32 yards rushing and 0 touchdowns. So, yeah.
Not very impressive.
And he had 1 fumble that year, too. So
So that didn't really help my case very
yeah, just made it worse.
What the point is for me, though, is he won games. He was 2-1, and the one game he lost, he led Pittsburgh in a playoff game, in a playoff atmosphere game, into overtime against the Ravens. I'll stop talking about Dixon now because I can just keep going on and on. Because honestly, I mean, I just wanted to see Chip Kelly do something different. And if he takes Vick or Foles, yes, I would love Vick as my starter. I still love Michael Vick. I think he gives you a chance to compete in the playoffs. But I just thought that it could be something different. Really just shocked the NFL. So that's number 4. We got Dixon. We got all the cornerbacks out of the way. Number 5 is Lane Johnson, the 4th overall pick, left tackle. Right tackle. My apologies. He, like I said, has been really impressing at training camp. He's going to get time to start. And watch him mainly when Michael Vick's out there because he'll be protecting his blind side. Lane Johnson's probably going to play probably the entire half. I believe that PhiladelphiaEagles.com reported that offensive and defensive line first teams are going to get a lot of reps. So he's going to be huge. I'll see what his athleticism can do. If he can just hold his own and not struggle, not really relent up any sacks, I think he'll be all right. It's his first game. It's going to take a little bit of progression, but I think he'll be actually very good from what I've seen against the Patriots so far. I think he'll be all right. So number 6 is going to be fellow rookie tight end Zach Ertz, formerly of Stanford. This guy reminds me of TJ Graham. I think he's going to be huge. Just TJ Graham. Jimmy Graham.
What is this, basketball now?
No, TJ Graham is a receiver for the Bills. That was Sam Ty.
Oh, I was thinking of Ty Lawson. I wasn't really thinking of your words.
That's not be disrespectful about it.
I wasn't listening.
Okay. All right, I'm going to talk about Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is going to need what was that?
Nothing.
Okay. Get behind the glass. All right.
I'm not behind glass.
Don't be difficult. All right. So Zach Ertz, I think what I'm looking forward to for him is see where he's going to line up. Obviously, you can put him in the slot. You can move him outside or also at the normal tight end spot. I hope he can get some good receptions for some yards. I like to see him in the red zone, what he can do, because he's got some really good size. I think if he can get a touchdown, it would be really impressive. So, that's Zach Ertz. We're going to go to now James Casey, the fellow tight end. And I'm previewing these 2 tight ends because I know it sounds like he's a basic tight end to me. I really want to see where these guys line up. James Casey's also probably going to get a lot of looks at fullback, while Zach Ertz and Salk are the 2 tight ends out wide. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think he's going to get a lot of playing time with all the guys. And really young quarterbacks really look to tight ends. I expect James Casey and Zach Ertz to have huge games with Barkley and Dixon. Watch Michael Vick and James Casey. I think this is a connection that if Vick wins the starting job, is going to be really good, I think. James Casey is a fast, versatile player. And I think, by the way, preview, just incoming report, Sammy, the 49ers, I believe, signed Eric Wright, correct, on over Twitter.
Yes.
All right, so Eric Wright is a 49er now. Just not off the Eagles subject because they're playing tonight in the preseason. So number 8 is wide receiver, rookie, Ifeanyi Moma. I think that Moma, he's 6'8". I've been saying this every podcast, but he really struggled the first day against the Patriots. He couldn't even stay on his own feet, and the routes were not really crisp at all, and he has not been able to really separate from corners. But then the second day, he had a much better day. He had a touchdown. He had some good receptions and one-on-ones, and he looked pretty good. I think he's gonna get a lot of playing time on the outside in the second half. I think Dixon's gonna be the quarterback, and I think that I want to see what he can do in the red zone. I think they're gonna be looking to him his rare size. Let's see what he can do. Move him around in some Riley Cooper situations that he did last year. Let's see what Moma can do. He's gonna have to earn his way into this roster by having a really good preseason. So that's Ifeanyi Moma. I think him and he's really, gonna have to really outperform Russell Shepard, who I'm going to talk about next, because I think the Eagles are going to keep 5 receivers or 6. At 6, then he makes a roster, but 5, you got Deshaun Jackson, Avant Cooper, 4, Damaris Johnson, and then you have Russell Shepard, Ifeanyi Moma. One of those guys is going to step up, and Russell Shepard is an undrafted rookie from LSU. Has had a very good camp. He's really caught the eye of Michael Vick, who says that he's looked great. And he doesn't really have that rare speed or that rare size, but he does all the little things well. He's a great route runner. Yeah, a really good blocker for his size. Honestly, he's got great hands. He looked very good against the Patriots corners. The one I remember, he burned Alfonso Denard on a fade route. Back to 2 feet. If he can, he just got to outperform Ifeanyi Moma. I think these two are really going to battle for that last spot. And honestly, I prefer Moma just because of the ceiling, what he has, what he can become compared to what Russell Shepard already is. And we have a lot of small receivers already. I think you need that rare size guy. But also Ifeanyi Moma, they're both eligible for practice squad. I think they'll both be for the Eagles, but honestly, you think you're going to be able to sneak Moma into the practice squad? Because I don't. I think someone's going to pick up that rare size. Maybe the New England Patriots, if they like what they see from the preseason, and the Eagles do not keep him. So the last guy for the offense, number 10, is Chris Polsky, running back from the second-year guy. Last year he was behind Deion Lewis, Bryce Brown, and Michelle McCoy. He was buried in the depth chart. This year he's having an amazing training camp. McCoy will not be playing, so it's going to be interesting to see if Chip Kelly starts Bryce Brown or Chris Polsky, but he's going to have a lot of playing time, as well as Felix Jones. But I think, honestly, now, the first trade if you would have came to me and asked me how many running backs they're going to keep, I would have said 4 with the acquisition of Jones. But with the way Chris Polk has been playing, honestly, I don't think Jones is going to see the field much. He's a great receiver out of the backfield. Sammy, if you can pull up Chris Polk's stats from Washington when he was in college, his receiving ability, I'm not sure how impressive it was. But Chris Polk, his speed, I think he's going to get a lot of touches in this fast-paced offense. Bryce Brown and McCoy are going to be the main 2 guys. But Polk's going to get his carries. He's also a very good special teams player. Sammy, give me his. I think he was very impressive in Washington. What were his receiving stats? Because I know he was very good. He's a 1,000-yard rusher.
In 2011, he had 332 yards, 31 receptions, and 4 touchdowns.
There you go. That's all I need to know. 4 touchdowns and 31 receptions. He, all these running backs can receive. If he can do that tomorrow, I think it's going to be huge. Also look for him and Nick Foles to be a pretty big connection, because Foles is the king of the check down. Last year he was one of the worst in attempting for the lowest amount of yards. I think he was 3rd behind Christian Ponder and Blaine Gabbert in no rational order. So that's the offensive side, those 10 players. If you can really look at those guys, those are all the guys that have the most on the line. Plus the offensive line, I didn't name a couple guys. I did name Lane Johnson. Also, you can say Julian Vandervelde and Alan Barb. So let's go to the defensive side, where we're going to go number 1 is Trent Cole. Trent Cole is moving to the outside linebacking spot. So, and this is not new to him. He's a 4-3 defensive end, put your hand in the ground type guy. He's had a up-and-down training camp. Obviously, he's trying to learn all of the coverage skills on his feet now. It'll be interesting to see how much they use him in coverage compared to pass rushing, because we all know what he is as a pass rusher, hands down. He's probably going to be doing most of that, but we're going to have to see what he does coverage-wise. That's what I'm really intrigued to see. And we'll see, he'll probably get a couple drives just because he's got to get into the flow of things. As well as number 2, Brandon Graham, who's in the same spot as Trent Cole. But honestly fits it well. He played a little 3-4 outside back in college when he was with Michigan. I'm sorry. Actually, no. Sammy, this is going to bug me. I think it's Michigan. Brandon Graham, college. Where did he go to college? Oh.
University of Michigan.
I got it. All right. So he did a lot of that there, and I think, last year he had a very good season, but again, he'll get probably more play time than Cole. But these two, just to see how much they use him in coverage, these both were struggling compared to Connor Barwin, who I did not have in this list, because honestly I think he's going to be hands down the best defensive player for the Eagles. Besides, he'll probably be top 3 with D'Amico Ryans and Michael Kendricks. So those 3 guys I don't really need to watch out for. Number 3 is a guy that not many people know and is really a dark horse to make the roster, and I think he will as a backup linebacker, inside linebacker, also a huge special teams guy. It's Emmanuel Ocho. And this guy, same if you pull up his college stats, he is a tackling machine. And I really like what I've seen so far from him in training camp, special teams wise. They say he's hitting really hard and he's really doing well. Also very good in coverage. So, and he's probably, I see him probably a rotational player behind Michael Kendricks, D'Amico Ryans. But honestly, I think he's going to beat out Jamar Cheney and Casey Matthews for that first backup spot. I really like his young. I mean, I think he had a season-ending injury when he was in Cleveland. He went to Texas A&M. What were his tackling stats? Give me some of his stats from 2011. I believe he played.
110 tackles, 3 sacks,
Wow, 3 sacks. So he has pass rushing ability too.
and a forced fumble.
Cool. So he's going to be pretty big this season, I think. So let's go to number 4. Here it is, Chris McCoy. Another guy on defense that not a lot of people know. And honestly, I haven't, since the last time I talked to Tommy Waller, I didn't really even know about him. He is an outside linebacker that, to me, is going to be the main backup for Connor Barwin. He has been, they're saying, the second best coverage linebacker, outside linebacker, that is, because Michael Kendricks, hands down, and D'Amico Ryans have been the best. Chris McCoy, I think, is a lock to make this roster because of the lack of depth at the outside linebacker position. Because, obviously, you only have 2 guys, one guy other than McCoy that really knows how to run. That's not Colt McCoy, Sam. So,
Google.
I think that, honestly, next year, if you're going to look for who's their Eagles going to target in the draft, it's going to be outside linebackers. They don't have depth at the position because, unless Cole and Brandon Graham pan out. So Chris McCoy, to me, is going to have a big game tomorrow. Look out to see what he can do in coverage. He's more of a coverage guy than pass rushing. So he's going to be pretty big, I think. Because, honestly, we don't have enough guys at this position. You would have thought that they would have brought in some guys. And that's just the one thing that I think the Eagles needed to address more. But, hey, they have a lot of faith that Trent Cole and Brandon Graham can pick this up. And they're going to run a hybrid. That's not always going to be 3-4. They're going to show signs of 4-3. So guys like Vinny Curry is not always going to be a 3-4 end. He might go to 4-3 end, which he's a much better fit for. So that's number 4. Let's go to number 5. It's safety Kenny Phillips, who is not going to be starting the game. So the starters at safety will be Patrick Chung and Nate Allen. Kenny Phillips, though, to me, if he's healthy, is going to be the starter. He was huge in New York. He had the game-winning knockdown in the Super Bowl. But it's just he can't stay healthy, and that's the one problem. He's been rotating in the first team. But honestly, I think him and Patrick Chung, if they impress, are going to be the 2 starters. I'll as well add in number 6 is Earl Wolf, this rookie safety. Earl Wolf, to me, he's going to have a big preseason in order to start. But you're going to see some 3 safety sets as well. So don't be surprised if you see Patrick Chung move into the slot and also have Wolf and Phillips in the backfield. As of right now, it says Nate Allen starting, and I think that he'll probably stay that way. I don't know. Kenny Phillips going to have a big you just have to show some good stuff. And honestly, safety's tough. I can't tell you right now who's going to start because it's probably one of the deepest positions. I think Chung's a lock. I think he's really good. But then you have a bunch of guys. I mean, Kenny Phillips, to me, I think he'll have. But Earl Wolf, they will not hesitate to put him in. He reminds a lot of people of Brian Duncan. And then you have Nate Allen, Kirk Coleman, and David Sims. I mean, I'll just watch this one pan out and just go with whoever it is because I can't really predict it. If I would have predicted it now, I would say it's Chung and Nate Allen just based on Phillips' health. So, and Earl Wolf's a hard tackling player who's going to be huge on special teams, going to have a lot of playing time. So even if he doesn't start immediately, he will get on the field. He's a tackling machine. So, and let's go to number 7, where it is Brandon Boykin. He's probably the best player, or one of them in training camp so far. He's been huge. He's going to be starting outside of Bradley Fletcher's. Terry Williams will not be playing due to a nagging injury that he's been going. I believe it's a hamstring injury. So Brandon Boykin's going to be moving to the outside, and he's been terrific for that. He also hasn't really liked how the Patriots have come in and be aggressive. I like his talking so far. I think he's going to have a big game Friday. But I want to see what he can do kick returning wise, because last year he didn't really have a big year for that. He'll be battling a lot of players. Damaris Johnson, Jordan Poyer, who's coming up later on the list. For that kick returning spot, I know he's going to be big at corner. I don't think he's going to be an outside corner, though, because I believe Bradley Fletcher and Kerry Williams are going to be the 2 veterans, and then put Boykin in the slot. But I think he'll be covering Aaron Dobson and some unproven Danny Amendola and some unproven receivers other than Amendola. So it's not really a big test for him. So I expect him to come out with a shutdown game, as he has looked really good against the Patriots so far at practice. So Boykin's a guy that you really want to keep your eye out for because honestly he could steal one of those outside spots. Bradley Fletcher's we'll talk about him in a couple. Well, I want to go first back to the defensive line, and it's Benny Logan, the LSU. As of right now, I think he's going to play 3-4 end opposite Fletcher Cox, because I think Isaac Sopoaga is going to play mostly nose tackle. But Benny Logan's also going to rotate in there nose tackle, because Sopoaga is not, I don't think, every down defensive player. Benny Logan has really impressed the staff so far at training camp. And he's showing some really good maturity, and I think, honestly, he would be huge in opposite Fletcher Cox, but Cedric Thornton has had a really good camp as well. I think it's going to be a rotational spot here, but expect Benny Logan to come out Friday and have a big game. He's going to be run-stopping against some not really great running backs, as Ridley probably won't be playing. But Shane Vereen, he's had a good test against that really good offensive line. If he can hold his own, I think, honestly, I want to see what he can do pass rushing-wise. Because I want to see some of these 3-4. I know Fletcher Cox, he had 5.5 sacks last year, so he's going to get his. But Benny Logan, I just want to see, because he really, Sammy, pull up how many sacks he had with LSU last season. He plays mostly nose tackle, so he's more of a take out the lead blockers and give the linebacker other guys time. So
he had 2 sacks.
So 2 sacks is not doing what you want, but he's a nose tackle, I think. And he's going to be young. It's a rotational block. Because also, don't be surprised that Vinny Curry, he bulked up this year, and he's going to get a lot of reps there as well. He has had a really impressive camp. He's been hitting hard, but not many people have really seen him. I think he's going to be huge as well, but he's not on my list based on, I think he's a lock to make the roster because of his upside. So number 9 is corner Bradley Fletcher. We'll get back to him. He's had an up-and-down camp. He did pick off Mr. Tim Tebow. I know that's pretty impressive. Not really. But Bradley Fletcher is a press coverage corner that has been really impressive when he was in St. Louis, but I think he's going to hold on to his job. He's a veteran that really, I think he's going to have impressive. He's had an up-and-down camp. He's really been tough one-on-ones. He's been burned a lot of the times. He's really been struggling in press man coverage, which is really his strength. But he had a strong day yesterday, and he's honestly, out of all the guys, he's been the best at getting turnovers. I believe he's had I've seen a couple picks so far. I think it'd be huge if he could really just come in and shut down whoever's opposite Danny Amendola, or if he's covering Amendola. He's going to have a big test, and he can also play in the slot sometimes. I think Bradley Fletcher is a physical guy that, he's struggling, but I think he's going to have a pretty big game because, again, corners, you can't really tell much from this other than just hope they don't get burned. I think that's going to be a pretty easy challenge, but again, look who's throwing them the football, though. It's Tom Brady. So I think it's still a big test. I think he struggled one-on-ones against Brady, but I think expect him to have a big game. I think he's going to actually come out and be really impressive. So let's go to number 10. Our last guy for this list is another corner. It's Jordan Poyer, the 7th-round pick this year that people are saying it's a steal out of Oregon State. And I think that I think he's gonna be good. I think he's more of an off. He can do both press and off coverage. He's gonna be tested, but honestly, I think he's gonna be going up against Tim Tebow a lot. What I want to see is what he can do maybe at kick returner. I think he looked pretty good there during training camp. Special teams he's going to be a big part of, but let's see what he can do. Maybe he can battle for some playing time. I think you still have Curtis Marsh ahead of him as that backup for an outside job just in case anyone gets hurt. When there's 4 receivers out there, though, I think Poyer might be that guy that comes next to Brandon Boykin. And I think he's more of a dime-type corner, not a nickel. That's Boykin's job. But he's a very interesting player. People are really interested to see what he can do. He's got rare physical ability and speed that a lot of corners don't have. We'll see what he can do tomorrow, but obviously you want to just see him hold his own, but let's see some aggressive play, some pass deflection. I think he's really going to have to come out and earn his spot during the preseason, so expect him to go all out, and don't be surprised if he has a big preseason, gets a lot of playing time. He's going to get his fair share of reps. He'll be number 33 if you're looking for him out there. Very interesting player to watch. I guess some good quarterbacks, Ryan Miles, can give him maybe a tough time as well, and it's interesting to see where they'll line him up. I'm sure they'll put him some outside, and they'll put him sometimes in the nickel with Brandon Hughes and Curtis Marsh on the outside. Those are the guys that I'm really intrigued to see for today. So those are my player previews. Out of all the guys, those are my 10 on offense and 10 on defense that I think you can keep a good eye out on. We'll also post below the podcast a list of my players because it was kind of I did it quickly, so you can check that out. We'll post that for you under the podcast, just under the video. Yeah, we do good.
Good.
Thanks to producer Sam, who's not wearing a tie, but I had. We got that from the Dave Jamship program. Stick with it. So, Sam, give your prediction. Let's do scores. Give your prediction for the Eagles-Patriots game, a final score.
I think it'll be 14-10 Patriots.
Prediction sucks. How about that? You wanna go against me, Eagles?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 21 to I'll say 17 Patriots as well. Yeah.
But you're going against the Eagles.
I think it's because the Eagles just they don't have senior talent already. They have depth. I think the Eagles. I mean, this is their first game, and they're gonna really everything's got to click. And I think it's gonna be a process. So you're not gonna see week one. They're gonna come out flying.
Shut up!
But no. You pick the Eagles to lose. All right. But I think that I think they're gonna look good. It's their first tackling in a while because they haven't tackled in training camp. So that's gonna do it. Thanks for joining me here on Eagle Eye Focus Sports Talk Podcast. Check out some more. Follow me on Twitter at DB Sports Talk for all your Eagles updates. Also follow Sammy at
SammyDB Sports.
for your NFL updates, and also check out my articles at GetRealFootball.com. I'm a fantasy writer there, as I like to keep my articles on the blog, eaglesportstalk.blogspot.com. That's going to do it. The Eagles play the Patriots tomorrow night. I think I just said that, but it's exciting. Football is back. That's going to do it. Again, check out my articles. The season is coming, so fly high, Eagles fans.